Greetings to all of my fellow watch enthusiasts on YouTube and Facebook and wherever else this video might be seen and shared. Celine Driver, once again, bringing you the final video in my series of State of the Collection 2023. I've done several videos by this point. I've done several videos detailing my Zelo State of the Collection, my Tudor State of the Collection, my Omega State of the Collection, my Breitling State of the Collection, and last video was my quote-unquote everything else non-divers State of the Collection. Final video is everything else divers. So all these watches are diver or diver style watches. No, they're all diver watches. They all have the enough depth rating and the accoutrements, specifically screw down crowns, heavy duty cases and crystals and so on, to make them worthy of a diver style watch. All the watches you see on the table have individual videos on my channel. So if you see a watch that you want to learn more about, a video where I go into materials and measurements and all kinds of other bits and bobs and so on about the watch, and it's the watch box and materials, please feel free to search for that watch on my channel and take a look. Some unique pieces in front of you here today, a couple of them with really good stories. Let's just dive right in. See what I did there. A rarity in my collection at this point is one of only, I believe, 2 Seikos that I have left in my collection. I used to have a lot more Seikos. I've sort of moved away from them since they sort of moved away from me in a way. I'm not a big fan of the Seiko 5 lineup, with 1 or 2 exceptions. And the other Seiko watches, I may or may not get around to picking one of those up. But this one was unique enough, I really decided that I had to have it. This is and forgive me, I don't know the exact model number, but this is a Seiko Kinetic quartz watch. A Kinetic is basically a watch that uses motion energy to charge a capacitor inside the watch, which then energizes the quartz oscillator and movement in the watch, and you see it is definitely a quartz watch. It's a tuna style case with the big shroud on it. I really love the way this watch looked, although unfortunately the bezel is about impossible to turn, so I'm not even going to bother. The crown at the 2 o'clock, actually, when you push it, and it's a screw down crown, as you can see, it's screwed in right now. I can actually unscrew it. And when you push it with the second hand at the 12 o'clock, it will move either a certain number of seconds or all the way at maximum charge to the 32nd point. And if you use a chart in the documentation, will give you an idea of the charge of the watch. Now, unfortunately, when I bought the watch, you see how it moved like that when I accidentally pushed it, but it'll freeze the hand until the oscillator catches up. You can see with the crown screwed in, it's you can't push it anymore. You cannot put this watch on a winder, which I didn't understand at the time, and have it charge the capacitor. You either have to wear it so that it does have a winding mass, a rotor like a conventional automatic, that will charge the capacitor, or you can. There are a couple of tricks on the internet that are available, mostly using, believe it or not, cordless toothbrush chargers. Or if you're lucky enough to find one, and I did find one, it was very expensive, but I did find one. There was a charger for all of the Seiko Kinetics. There were several different movements available in the Kinetic family. If you put the watch face down on that charger and plug it in and turn it on, it'll actually charge the watch by sort of by just sitting there on the charger, and it'll just kind of feed the capacitor and charge the watch up. So very interesting watch. And I paired it with a third-party mesh bracelet I picked up off of Amazon. I'm sorry, I don't remember the brand name. But nice watch. It's a big watch, but it wears fairly comfortably, and it's really a great grab-and-go watch. I have this Signum dive watch, which was available in a few different colorways and bezel options. I, of course, picked the orange and blue that was available. I actually saw this on a live stream done by Random Rob about a month ago or so, in this exact look, this exact dial, this exact bezel. And the dial is a full orange lume dial. So this thing at night looks spectacular. It's a titanium watch. Really a good-looking watch, very comfortable, very easy to wear. But once again, the love of the orange and blue colorway strikes, and I just can't resist when I see one that I like. Next up, I have. I think it's one of the prettiest watches I own. Really, it's really one of the best-looking watches I own. Is this Glycine Combat Sub, with the blue dial and the orange bezel insert. It's an aluminum insert. It's a 60-click bezel, which works pretty well. Locks in very nicely. Very comfortable to wear. Very slim for a diver. All stainless steel, nicely polished. Great looking watch, great looking dial. Works well, keeps really good time. I'm just very happy overall with my Combat Sub. Took me about a year to find one. They were that particular colorway was not produced in great numbers, and when people had them, they really didn't want to give them up. So I finally found some guy. It was actually on the website forum Watch You Seek. WATCHUSEEK. Not sponsored, but one of the places I go to look to buy and sell watches. I have my 3 Marathon search and rescues. This one is a quartz in the 36 millimeter, although it does wear bigger than a 36 millimeter owing to the chunkiness of the watch. But this is overall, I think, the second smallest watch I own. I have in storage somewhere an old 1961-62 vintage Bulova Accutron railroad watch. I think it's smaller than this. But this wears bigger than it looks. This is one of their search and rescues. It is a tritium tube indices. Great bezel action. Absolutely a tank tough watch. I mean, this thing looks and feels indestructible. It is a government issue number. You can see all the government numeric verbiage, including a Nuclear Regulatory Commission number and a procurement number from the GSA. You have to have an NRC number on there because tritium tubes are, of course, radioactive. They a long decay radioactive. It's not harmful to humans. not like that old radium stuff that they used to use. But it is something that is involved with nuclear material, so you have to have an NRC number. I have its slightly bigger brother in 41 millimeter, also an SAR. I think this is the TSAR, Tactical Search and Rescue. I think this is the GSAR, General Search and Rescue. Again, has the numbers and all that. I can't tell which side is upside down and which isn't, so I just flip it around. 41 millimeter wears a little bit bigger than 41 owing to the fact that it is a thick boy. Great bezel action, like you would expect. It is this one. I mean, they have different markings on them depending on which model you pick. This one is the U.S. government one, as is this one. I do have for these things the optional bracelets, which I've never actually put on the watches, but I have them in case I decide to. This one of the three marathons is my pride and joy. This one took a little extra effort to dig up because this is not just any old, this is what they call the JSAR, the Jumbo Search and Rescue. This is a 46 millimeter, and it is a big boy. It is so big, in fact, and heavy that most of the winders that I have don't have the torque to wind this watch. They just won't work. And this one is an automatic as opposed to these two being quartz. Now, what makes this watch particularly unique is that symbol right there. That is not a U.S. government symbol. That is an Israeli symbol of Yemen. That is one of the branches of Israeli Special Forces. As a matter of fact, if I move this out of the way, you can see on the day window is in Hebrew and English. I mean, it does have English too, but it is in Hebrew. And that's what makes this watch unique. Is this watch is a watch that is issued to Israeli Special Forces, and it has that information on the back, as well as the U.S. government procurement numbers and other such verbiage. This one, usually you can find these and even the American versions of these, the U.S. government versions of these on Amazon, for example, or Long Island Watch sells them. Again, non-sponsored. Just a Long Island Watch is a dealer for Marathon. But they don't have this one on their website. But when I contacted Mark over at Long Island Watch, he said he'd give him some time, see what he could do. And he found one for me, gave me a good price, and I bought it. And I'm very happy to have that watch. Speaking of Long Island Watch, you remember in my last video, the non-diver video, I had an example of a Seiko Pogue, 1960s, 70s Pogue watch, and the Detroit Mint homage to that watch. Well, this is the Long Island Watch homage to the Pogue as well. They have two versions of this, one in the 38 millimeter, and this one in the 43 millimeter. But instead of like the Detroit Mint one being an actual chronograph homage to it, this one is a dive watch homage with the Pepsi bezel and the gold yellow or yellow gold dial. But it is a Long Island Watch. You can see the Long Island Watch logo there and at just under the 12 o'clock. And this is a really neat Islander. Really enjoy wearing that watch. I'm a big fan of that color combination. I don't know why. I'm not a big fan of yellow watches in general, but this gold dial with the Pepsi bezel, it just, I like it. I have the only Squale I have left. At one time I had like 6 Squales, but I sold them all. But I kept this one. This one is a Squale 1521 model with the crown at the 4 o'clock. But this one, as you can see, is the Lion Shark. This one is the first collaboration, as far as I know, this was the first collaboration that Tristano did, TGV, of the Urban Gentry, did with a watch manufacturer. He did a collaboration with Squale to create the Lion Shark. It came on this leather strap, which looks very much like a collareb to me, with this unique red bezel, which, yes, I know that took some damage. I am the second owner of this watch. The original owner, I guess, scratched it a little bit. This anthracite gray dial, no date, with the TGV family crest, the lion. At the 12 o'clock, under the 12 o'clock, and above the 6 o'clock is the Squale professional logo. Only 100 of these were made, as far as I'm pretty sure it was only 100. And I really love I really do love the color combination of the red bezel insert with the anthracite gray dial, and that's why this one sticks around. Also, admittedly, I'm a fan of Urban Gentry. I like the way he do what he do, and I love the collaboration videos he does every month with Mark from Long Island Watch. I have a Blancpain in the desert colorway that actually my dad bought this. Yes, I worked my dad into another video, mentioning my dad in another video. My late father bought this watch mostly on a whim. He really liked this color and the strap and just the overall look of the watch. The as TGV would say, the tool-tasticness of the watch. And of course, I like it too, so I keep it around. It wears beautifully. It's just a joy to have this watch around. And Blancpain really makes a great watch, and they've been doing dive watches longer than anybody. They're the ones that started the genre, as far as I've been able to learn. Now, the last two watches are by far the oldest watches I have in my collection in terms of the amount of time I've owned them. Both watches were bought in 2006 during my quote-unquote first run of watch collecting. They're the only watches I kept from that time frame. I got rid of all the other ones, sold them all really, or they just broke and I threw them away, and they weren't anything great. But these two were great watches, and they've been around in my collection since 2006. And they are from Doxa. Now, I first learned about Doxa a long time ago when I started reading a book called Raise the Titanic from an author named Clive Cussler. Rest in peace, good sir. He recently passed. The main character of a lot of his novels, and he's written 5 different series of novels, but the first series dealt with a main character named Dirk Pitt. He was the hero of, I think, about 24 novels. Great books. But one of his characteristics was that he was always wearing an orange Doxa dive watch. And back then, the internet wasn't really a thing, so I didn't really know what an orange Doxa dive watch was until I happened to get the chance one day to find one. And I saw it, and I looked at that watch, and I thought, that is a beautiful piece. I've got to have one someday. But other priorities in life were in place until 2006, when I got the opportunity to buy this watch, which was a commemorative Sub 750T that was created for the launch of the movie Sahara, with Matthew McConaughey playing Dirk Pitt. And this was one of the Sahara commemorative watches. And I know why Dirk Pitt always wore an orange Doxa. That is a fantastic watch. And soon after that, I found a picture of the Caribbean on the internet in that fantastic Caribbean blue. There are basically 6 different lines of Doxas. It's the black ones called Shark Hunters, yellow ones called Diving Stars, silver ones called Sea Ramblers, orange ones called the Professionals, the blue Caribbeans, and then there's kind of an aqua, very bright aqua blue called the Project Aware watches. But very, very few watches were done in the GMT style. This is a very hard to come by 750, sub 750 GMT in the Caribbean colorway, with the orange representing the daytime and the black half of the inner dial representing nighttime. And I love this watch to death. It really, and the GMT hand is this hollow hand right here. Plus you get a date complication. And one of the great things about the bezel is not only is it a die bezel on the inner part, the grayer part of this track, but also the outer part, you can use that as the amount of bottom time you can, the underwater time you can spend at your maximum depth rate. So the timing corresponds with the, at 70. I'm sorry. Let's at 70 feet. You only get 50 minutes of bottom time, or something like that. No, that doesn't make sense. You would think with, at 190 feet, you only get about 5 minutes of bottom time. At 140 feet, you get 10 minutes of bottom time. And all the way up at 70 feet, you get 50 minutes of bottom time, and so on. So that's how you use that bezel and it's really a very effective bezel in the days before dive computers, which everyone uses now. Or so I understand. I don't scuba dive anymore. But anyway, those are my everything else in the collection, Divers edition. And that is going to conclude my State of the Collection video series for 2023. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed all the videos. And remember, if you want to learn more about any of these watches specifically, I have videos for all these watches on my channel. But I hope you enjoyed this one. I hope you enjoyed the entire series. I know it was long. I'm sorry about that. But in my defense, it's a big collection. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. That does help with the YouTube search algorithm and helps bring people to the channel, and that ain't a bad thing. Comments, questions, suggestions down below. I do read them all. I do respond to them all. However, if you are going to try and troll me, or you're going to try and insult me, or you're going to leave links to bad places on the internet, I'm simply going to delete that comment and block the commenter. If you're new to the channel, of course, welcome. I'm glad you found my channel. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you'll take the opportunity to enjoy many videos on my channel. I have many. Please enjoy as many as you like. All I ask in return is you click that red subscribe button. Help me grow this channel. If you've been here before but you haven't clicked the red subscribe button yet, please click the red subscribe button. Help me grow my channel. Don't forget to click the bell icon too, so that when I upload new videos or I do a live stream, you will be alerted. And as I always say at the end of my videos, it is a crazy old world out there. It is not getting any less crazy. So I always say the same thing. when you're out and about, be careful out there. Stay safe. Be well. See you soon.